19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Hi all, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Tuesday, September 26th, 2017. We're just getting, this is our daily tech setup. Our program is just about 14 minutes away from starting, so if you want to just fast forward 14 minutes, you'll get to the actual program. This is the time that I generally go silent for a bit while I actually get everything set up. So thanks for bearing with me. Hi all, I'm Dan Smigrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Tuesday, September 26th, 2017. I'm just getting set up for today's program. We're just about 13 minutes away from beginning WGAN-TV live at 5, today's program. Free for We Get Around Network Forum members, free access to the WGAN sample forms library. So I'll be talking about that today at 5 o'clock Eastern time. That's GMT minus 4, whatever that means for us Americans that always on Eastern time, Central time, and Pacific time, Mountain time. So anyway, coming up 5 o'clock Eastern time, WGAN TV live at 5. Again, we're just about 12 minutes away from getting started. We're just doing our daily tech setup, make sure everything's working okay. So anyway, coming up at 5, free for We Get Around Network Forum members, free access to the WGAN sample forms library. Reminder, it is free to join the We Get Around Network Forum. And there are actually 15 membership benefits totally free for being a free member. Sounds pretty good to me. Excuse me. Anyway, tomorrow, Wednesday, here's what's coming up the rest of this week. Excited to be visiting with George Hogue. He is with 3D 360 Homes and Hogue Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida. That's on the, let's see, here's the west. It would be on the east coast. It's kind of north of Miami, Fort Lauderdale, and up the coast. First, we'll certainly ask how he did with the hurricane coming through Florida. Excuse me. But Jeff is just firing on all cylinders. It may surprise you to know that many members of the We Get Around Network Forum community are both real estate agents or brokers and Matterport service providers. Frequently a real estate agent or broker that's pretty tech savvy, photographer, just kind of running through them, buys a Matterport camera to shoot their listings, or for broker their listings and the agent's listings. And then sets up a separate business to offer Matterport scans either to other real estate agents and brokers, or everyone else other than real estate agents and brokers. So I have a lot of questions for Jeff, and you probably do too, in terms of if you're a photographer and you're kind of new to this, calling on real estate agents and brokers, what's up in the head of a broker, and what kind of appeals to a broker? And so I'm going to ask him those kinds of questions, even though he has the camera and he does shoot listings. If you have a chance to, if you see over here on to your right where it says WGAN TV coming up, Jeff Hogue with 3D 360 Homes, Hogue Realty, Port St. Lucie, Florida. If you click on that, you can go to a page in the forum where we talk about briefly that he'll be on the program tomorrow. But more importantly, you'll be able to click on the links to his websites to get in, to see what he's actually doing with integrating Matterport if you want to get a sneak preview. And then coming up, I'm just looking at the program schedule with you that's to your right. Right below the box, it says Join Virtual Studio Audience. This is WGAN-TV program schedule. On Thursday of this week, that's Thursday, September 28th, 2017, I'll be speaking with founder Ryan, viewing founder Ryan Baxter, who will premiere and demo and discuss his new platform for Matterport service providers. So this is yet another way to publish, share your Matterport spaces, and initially in residential real estate to add value to your clients. But it really, this is a very exciting platform, and there's opportunities for revenue share. So it's really designed as a win-win platform, and sort of like the more you publish and the more e-commerce that comes of the site, then the more potential for you to earn revenue beyond whatever it is that you charged your client up front for scanning their space in the first place. So anyway, that's the viewing platform. It requires a 3D tour. So we'll double check with Ryan if it requires Matterport in particular, or if other platforms are okay as well. So that's the viewing platform, and it'll be premiered right here, WGAN TV live at 5. That'll be on Thursday, September 28th, 2017. On Friday, no program. It's Yom Kippur. So those of my fellow Jewish people, Happy New Year. And so I will not be on the air on Friday, September 29th, 2017. So if you're just joining in, we're going to start our program, WGAN TV, live at 5 o'clock Eastern time. That's just about 7 minutes from now, here within the We Get Around Network forum. Excuse me. Just to give you a heads up on next week, we're doing live stream events. There happen to be 2 social media conferences in Atlanta next week, the week of October 2nd. And there are 1, 2, 3, 4 events that are either augmented reality, virtual reality, mixed reality, or both. And in some cases, they're agencies, excuse me, and in some cases, clients. And so anyway, I'm going to the conference. I got an okay to stream the events. So topics include, this is next week, the week of October 2nd, incorporating VR and AR into your business. New media chat, why Georgia is poised to lead the next wave of Hollywood innovation. Even if you're not in Georgia, if you're doing film and television production in your city or town, this will be kind of cool to tune into. I think there'll be some discussion on virtual reality. Excuse me, so sorry. And then I think just interesting because it's the president of the Pinewood Studios in Atlanta, where all the Marvel movies are made. So even if nothing else, it'll be fun to attend that. I think I need to clear my throat, so please bear with me. This ever happened to Peter Jennings or Dan Rather? So anyway, excuse me. Also next week, new realities, AR, VR, and MR. There is yet another conference, kind of a conference within a conference next week. I'll be attending Moxie FutureX Live. It's a day-long conference, always just amazing content. At that one, I'll probably just take notes and post in the We Get Around Network forum for you. Last year was amazing. It was kind of like, here's the history of VR. Here's where we are. Here we are today with VR. Here's where it's going, and then companies that were making money with VR today. maybe a short program today if I can't get through my cough here. And then on Friday of next week, Friday, October 6, 2017, VR training, why major brands are getting on board. It's actually the presenter is one of the members of the We Get Around Network Forum, happens to be in Atlanta making a presentation. It's an agency that does virtual reality for big brands here in Atlanta. So always good to see Dave Beck. I'm looking forward to his presentation, and that's on Friday. So anyway, we got a lot of live streaming events coming up. If you're just tuning in, coming up at the top of the hour, just about 4 minutes from now, is WGAN-TV Live at 5. And today's topic is the free sample forms library. That library is free, and I'll talk about that and how to get a library card, I suppose, to the We Get Around Network Forum sample forms library, what's in it, and why it's a terrific benefit of simply being a member of the free We Get Around Network Forum. Free. That sounds good. Excuse me. We may have to fire the host of this program and get somebody else yakking if I can't get rid of that cough. So anyway, so excited about this week. If you missed yesterday's program, that was kind of fun. Kind of a brief program on how to create a vanity URL and what to do with it in terms of bundling, upselling, or gifting. And so that's available in the We Get Around Network forum. Typically, we promote what's coming up on the program with a separate forum post. And then we record the program. So once the recording is available, generally the next day, there's some processing involved and whatever. So usually by the next day, we post the video in the forum. So if you missed the program or you missed some portion of it, or surprisingly, if you want to go back and watch it a second time, available typically in the We Get Around Network forum. Some programming is exclusive for an all-access pass for basic, standard, and premium members, but for the most part, most of the programming that we do airs live. You can watch it live and typically watch it as recorded as well. So that's where we are at the moment. So again, stay tuned. Coming up just in about 2 minutes, we'll kick off our WGAN-TV Live at 5, featuring free for We Get Around Network forum members, free access to the WGAN sample forms library. It's free to join the forum, and there's about 15 membership benefits that are free. And as soon as you join, you automatically get a welcome letter, and it has links and passwords to all the different things that are free. And we've done an entire episode just on the things that are free. And frankly, I think we might have done it last week, and we had 14 free things. Now we're actually up to 15. So 15 free membership benefits simply for joining the We Get Around Network forum. So we've had some great programs with Ross Peterson, the founder and developer of WP3D models. We're working on rescheduling or actually scheduling a third and fourth program with him. We did an episode for WP3D models for newbies, for someone who's just thinking about WP3D models and literally how to get started. Again, that's available in the forum, totally free to watch that. And we did an episode when he premiered WP3D models version 3.0. So we're going to do another one for newbies, kind of a part 2, and then we're going to do yet another one for power users of WP3D models because it's some really cool features. So anyway, we're working on scheduling that with Ross, and excited about that. So let me go back to a window here, and we'll get started in a moment. See if I can. I apologize for all the hemming. I know that's not, if you're listening in speakers, you go, oh, so sorry. Anyway, so we should get started with our program. In 5, 4, 3. Hi, I'm Dan Smegrod, founder of the We Get Around Network Forum. Today is Tuesday, September 26, 2017, and you're watching WGAN-TV live at 5. Today's topic, free for We Get Around Network Forum members, free access to the WGAN sample forms library. So I think this is the sample forms library. I think is really a great example of the kind of the community coming together to help everyone succeed faster. I think when I started the forum about 3 years ago, August 2014, part of that mission was to enable an easy, fast way for forum members to connect, to give help, and to get help. And so, where did this sample forms library, come from? It actually came from you. I started noticing in the forum a post here asking for this kind of form, and then a post there, requesting this kind of form. And that kind of felt, a bit, ad hoc. It just seemed like, well, gee, why don't we just like collect all those forms and just make it, super easy and super fast for a member of the We Get Around Network Forum to have access to sample forms. And so that's exactly what we've done. And we have I want to say nearly 20 categories of forms. So if you were looking for an agreement between a photographer and a client, between a photographer and a client for an event, a licensing agreement, non-disclosure agreement, maybe you're subcontracting work to another photographer, you need a non-disclosure agreement, a non-compete agreement. Maybe you're shooting a really interesting space and you want to make sure that you have a property release because you have some other uses beyond perhaps what you were originally scanning the space for. A lot of staging guidelines. So, if you've ever showed up on a shoot and you spend a lot of time staging, what is the document that you might be able to send in advance to a client, to an agent, to a broker, agent broker to share with a homeowner of how to stage a space so that when you actually show up to shoot, you can begin shooting immediately. And I'm sure all of us have had both kinds of experiences. We've worked with clients. We're down to the dimple in the pillow and the lights all turned on and at the right level of brightness and the curtains and the window shades all at the exact right spot so that we could literally walk in, do a walkthrough with the client, just make sure that we actually understand what closets are going to be open and closed and etc. so we don't miss a space. That may resonate with a few of you. And then be able to shoot. And then there are places that we show up and we're helping the agent, move stuff outside of camera range, particularly in a small space where they got a lot of stuff and you're first moving it into one bedroom and then onto a deck, etc. Anyway, the point of that is we have many members that have contributed their checklist for staging a property and guidelines, and they're just great to draw from. So you may want something more comprehensive, less comprehensive. You like this piece in this form and this piece in this form. So, excuse me, pardon. So I think it's just kind of, it's really nice that we have, I think it's almost 20 categories. If you're new to quoting, what do different quotes look like? I mean, that's kind of interesting. Members typically share a form and pull out things like pricing, but the guts of how they bill for a project is generally there. service level agreement may or may not apply to you, but there are members in the community that have that have contributed service level agreements, quotes, invoices, terms and conditions, and for the most part, the forms are in English, the majority, but we do have forms in actually 5 languages. In addition to English, we have Arabic, French, Portuguese, and Spanish. And I think we have we're heading towards 50 forms. So there's a lot of content. Now, I'm not a lawyer. I don't give legal advice. I would be reluctant to say, take a form and use it as is. I would suggest probably maybe using it for inspiration. I think it's always a good idea to consult an attorney, to consult your tax advisor. But that said, I know many of you are just starting out, and you're probably watching dollars here and there. And if you can, even if you do the bulk of the work to put it together and then take it to an attorney to review, then maybe you can save some dollars that way. I know sometimes we tend to want to just get by and maybe not have an attorney look at something, but in the long run, it might actually cost you more by not consulting an attorney up front, or you might miss out on making sure that you have the right to do what you want to do, and that you have that taken care of early in the conversation, rather than finding out, oh gosh, I need to go back to the client because for the use I want to do, I need a property release, or oh, I've subcontracted work to another Matterport service provider. Did I get a non-disclosure agreement, a non-compete agreement? What does that look like? So I just think this whole idea of sample forms. In fact, let me see if I can just share a screen with you. Just take you to the post in the form. Let's just take me a moment here. So you can see what I'm looking at while I'm actually chatting with you. And there. So there we go. We get around network forum. And this is what the post is. WGAN-TV, WGAN Forum Sample Forms Library. So you can always use the search box to find it by just typing in Sample Forms Library right there. And I try my best to tag stuff. So since this is actually on WGAN-TV, we have a tag for that. I kind of think of this as training material, so I've tagged it training sample forms because there are actually some other forum posts about sample forms. And this is kind of relates, I think, to marketing and the category called form. So trying to make it as easy as possible so that if you forget what this is called, that intuitively you have a way to find it in the search box, which is powered by Google, or to use tags, which I think is really powerful for finding content in the We Get Around Network forum. So anyway, what you can see is here's a list of what's in the form library, the categories. And I think we tend to be heavy on some of the things that you're probably most interested in. So that's kind of cool. And so I guess the question is, well, okay, here's the sample forms library. So a lot of you might just click on that link and, voila, because I've already have set that up with my password, I get to see it. But when you click on that page, it's going to actually ask you for a password. So the question is, how do you get a password to get access to that form? Is simply private message me to say that you would, and again, it's at Dan Smigrod in the We Get Around Network forum. So you'd simply go up here to the mail and send me a message. And what I would ask you to say is that you would like to email me a sample of one of your forms that we can include in the sample forms library. And in exchange, once I get your form, then I'll send you the link and the password, kind of a library card, if you would, in order to have access to the sample forms library. So it is totally free for forum members. The forum is free. The price of admission, yes, is a sample form. We want to just keep building the sample form library to make it that much more helpful to We Get Around Network forum members. So now I sometimes get asked this question. That's kind of a catch-22. Usually is I'm just starting out and I don't have a form. First, if you speak any language other than English, you could volunteer to translate one of the forms in the library into another language, and that would serve as access to the library. So essentially what would happen is you agree to do a translation. I'll give you a password so that you can access the library. You'll have access to all of it, but you'll do the translation for at least one of the forms. So that's if you speak another language. If you are just starting out, you probably have some agreement somewhere, some kind of form. Maybe you've applied for your business license. Maybe you've set up your incorporation. Something related that would be helpful. And I'm sure if this question comes up, and I ask members to think hard about something that would be a useful tool to another member that kind of in broad strokes fits into this category. And so if maybe you're doing business as a certain name and you've had to fill out a form to apply to some government agency, or you, as I mentioned, that you've incorporated, or that you've applied for a business license, something that actually might some way somehow fit in this category of forms. For the most part, I find that everyone has at least some kind of form in terms of a quote, an invoice, something, and if you are absolutely just starting out, and you're not a photographer, you're not a real estate agent, that's a whole separate discussion, because I'd just have some concern about exactly how you're getting involved in a business, because generally offering Matterport Spaces 3D tours is an ancillary upsell optional extra. So a photographer who's shooting still photography, video, aerial, etc., is now offering Matterport, and therefore already has forms such as forms that they're using for their still photography, for their aerial photography, for their videography. So in any event, so if you'd like access to the We Get Around Network sample forms library, private message me. Please do not email me, because as soon as you private message me, I already know that you're a member of the forum, and that is a requirement. You must be a member, and the forum is free. It's totally free. It's the free We Get Around Network forum, and access to the sample forms library totally free, but it is for forum members. So if you're watching this and you're not a member of the We Get Around Network forum, it's free to join the We Get Around Network forum. You'll get a welcome email from me almost instantly in your forum mailbox, and it'll list 15 free membership benefits. One of them is the sample forms library, and it'll simply say private message me for my email address to send me a form. And then we do ask that when you do send me a form, that you include 4 things: your name, your company, your website, and your website, a link to your website, your business name. Maybe that's 5. Your business name, a link to your website, and where you're located, city, state, or location in another country. We really want to be able to credit you as the source of where that form came from in the sample forms library. I think it's just another way of kind of giving back, that somebody goes, oh, that form was provided by so and so. Oh, I recognize them in the form. Oh, okay, great. That's, they're being helpful. So, and I can imagine, and there may be some hesitancy about, providing a form to say, oh, I'm giving my competitor. You don't need to give pricing. If you got something that has pricing, take it out. Maybe one of your competitors is going to get the form. Yes, but at the same time, your competitor gets, a form. That means they are a member of the forum. They have access to all the other forms that are in there anyway. And what you get is access to nearly 50 forms as of today, Tuesday, September 26, 2017. So yeah, I don't know. I just kind of find that, constantly giving, that it creates value for you, and good stuff comes back. So, I understand that may be a concern for you. And I don't know, I guess I would just say, please get over it, and provide a sample form, and then get access to the sample forms library. So if you're just tuning in, you're watching WGAN-TV live at 5. Our topic today is the free We Get Around Network Forum Sample Forms Library, which is free for We Get Around Network Forum members, and it's free to join the We Get Around Network Forum. And when you join, you get 15, as of today, 15 free membership benefits. Sample form library is one of those benefits. So if you missed out the program, we are recording it, and we will post it in the We Get Around Network forum, in the forum discussion on the sample forms library. So that's our program for today. Thanks for tuning in. Again, I'm Dan Smakrod, founder of the We Get Around Network forum, and you've been watching WGAN-TV live at 5 from Atlanta, Georgia. So I've just completed a recording. I did want to do a little bit of testing for an upcoming program that we have coming up. So if you'd like to stay tuned while I just want to do a little bit of tech stuff, just to make sure something is working as expected for an upcoming program. This is kind of like watching the behind the scenes. It might be for some watching paint dry, but hey, it's a low budget operation. I'm your talent. I'm your host, the engineer, the sound engineer, makeup, hair, stylist, etc. So anyway. So I wanted to find, let's see, let's go take this right here. Okay. And then I am going to cancel that. I'm going to share my screen, find this piece here. And what I'm doing is just making sure that I can share the computer sound. So I'm not going to talk. I'm just simply, I guess Siri came to life there. I'm going to share the computer sound, and that's what I'm checking for. And I'm also going to optimize for full screen and see how that works. So I don't think you can actually hear sound because I have it turned off on my computer. So I'm going to turn up the sound.
Live
makeup,
stylist, etc.
Google Street View. I don't think you can actually hear sound.
Great
I have it turned
panel
off on
for you.
We
Go from left to right.
So that sounds like a train wreck, but that'll be good learning for me to see if it actually worked with my sound down on my monitor. But I've checked on a box that said use the audio. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. That's the end of our program today. Please tune in tomorrow, Wednesday, September 27th. Let's just go back to that for 1 second. WGAN-TV live at 5. Tomorrow, Wednesday, September 27th, Jeff Hogue with 3D 360 Homes and Hogue Realty in Port St. Lucie, Florida. That's on the east coast of Florida. And I think since there are so many members of the We Get Around Network Forum that are real estate agents or brokers and Matterport service providers, I think it would be helpful to hear firsthand from a real estate agent broker, from Jeff, a broker. I have a ton of questions I'd like to ask him. If you're welcome to join us, there's a whole over to the right, it says join virtual studio audience. Below that, it says need help and explains how to join our audience. But I just want to ask him a lot of questions that would be helpful for someone who is only a Matterport service provider trying to understand the mindset of a broker of what it is that's important to them, and then to hear from Jeff firsthand about not only how he heard about Matterport, when he bought a Matterport camera, what his motivation was, how it's going. But we'll have a ton of questions to ask with his hat of broker owner. And then separately, we'll talk to him in his role as a Matterport service provider. So, and he is firing on all cylinders, deeply integrating all kinds of Matterport-related stuff into his two different websites, his two different brands. And so we'll take a look at that, and we'll talk with Jeff. And that's tomorrow, Wednesday, September 27th, 2017, live at 5 o'clock Eastern Time here on WGAN-TV. So thanks again for joining, and I'm looking at all my notes here, and I think we're actually all set. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in and being part of the We Get Around Network Forum community. Bye-bye.